is that, the reality of internet predators is that the conversations get very dirty very quickly. But I'm writing for a young adult audience with the gatekeepers such as, school librarians, parents. So I had to balance very carefully the needs of my audience with the reality of what actually happens. So I made a conscious decision when I was writing the book to focus more on the seduction aspect than the sex per se. So I could minimize the language and the situations of the books we young adult authors write think that we put things in gratuitously, and that couldn't be further from the case. I am very careful thinking about what I put in my books, and I think people who complain about the language or complain about the situations probably have not walked through too many middle schools and high schools and actually listened to the conversations that are going on in the hallways.
You have 2 teenage children. Do you have them read your books, or do you know of their friends reading your books or anything like that?
My son, he read my first book. He's totally not interested in reading any others. As I have learned, you are not a hero in your own hometown. Well, in your own house, anyway. My daughter has actually been a very good critic for, starting with my book Life After. I had her read it in manuscript form, but she's a really tough critic. She does not mince words when she's writing. Like, a typical margin note for Life After was, there was a lot of Spanish in Life After, and I had used the term of endearment, and my pronunciation here is going to be really bad, but querida. And so a typical margin note was, if you use the word querida one more time, I'm going to shoot you. So I had to write to my sister, who had an Argentinian friend, and say, could you please ask your Argentinian friend for some more terms of endearment, because otherwise I will be dead soon. But she's great, because she, because if it was irritating her to see that word so much, it probably would irritate someone else. So she's very honest and very blunt. But it's nice because her friends have been reading my books, and it's really nice when I see on some of their status updates on Facebook, like, that they're reading my books and that they like them, and I'm like, oh, nice. So that's very exciting.
You said you spoke in schools. Was there any, standout experience or best experience you had speaking to a group of kids in school?
Well, I think, I love speaking in schools. I love the energy of actually, because I work alone in my basement a lot, as you can see this behind me, so actually getting out and being able to to talk to the kids who are reading the books is fantastic. But one of the things that's really gratifying to me is actually getting mail from or emails from people who've read the books. And for example, with Purge, which is about a girl who's recovering from bulimia, I've actually had people write to me from, who are in an eating disorder facility, who've read the book and have asked me about how I recovered from bulimia, because I was bulimic myself, and, asking me, for advice about what helped me, and that's been really meaningful to me. People who've found that the book has helped them in some way.
What advice would you give to aspiring young adult authors?
Read a lot. This goes for anybody who wants to write, not just young adult authors. Make sure you read a lot, and then just write a lot, because the more you write, the better you write. And don't think that once you've written, that's just the beginning. Because one thing I find with my kids, and I think with younger people, is that they don't realize that revision is really the fun part. Um, and that's one of the things I talk about a lot in schools. Like, I'll go in and I'll actually show them screenshots of my copy edits and my revisions. Because for me, like, the writing is writing the first draft is my least favorite part of writing a book. For me, writing the first draft is like pulling teeth without anesthetic. I just try and write the first draft as fast as I can because it's the part I hate the most. For me, revision is the fun part. And sometimes you say that in a school and kids are like, are you kidding me? I hate revising. It's what the teachers make us do. It's not fun, But I think as you really writing and maturing with your writing, you realize that revision is where the good stuff comes and where you really can make your writing better and where the richness comes in writing.
Is there anything else you'd like to add or any question that you wish I'd asked?
I would just say that I'm just so thrilled that there's so much great YA, so many great YA authors out there and so many great books to read. I just think it's a blessing, and I wish I were... I tend to read mostly YA now because, I break it up once in a while with a grown-up book, but, I just think teenagers are so lucky now. Like, I wish there had been this many great books for teens when I was a teenager. Like, basically, when I was a teen, you went straight from kids' books to grown-up books. There was very little in between, so I just think it's wonderful that there's so much out there now.